This is InvestorIdeas.com, and we're talking today with Danny Rittman, CTO of Gopher Protocol, Inc., trading on the OTCQB GOPH, a development stage company developing Internet of Things and artificial intelligence-enabled mobile technology. Two key products within their technology portfolio include Guardian Patch and the Guardian Pet Tracker. Good afternoon, Danny. Thanks for joining us today. Danny, can you talk about the history of artificial intelligence based on your background and expertise in the tech sector?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the interview today. Well, actually, artificial intelligence is something that is not, it actually has quite a bit of a history. Starting actually many centuries actually ago, when people actually started to think about living, what we call the thinking methods or thinking a mechanism. Of course, at the time it was all kind of started with theoretical concepts and ideas. Later on, it actually evolved with the history towards the 50s, of course, which is many years later, to actually machines, basic machines that did simple things, like calculation at the time, okay? If it's adding, subtracting, later on even making some graphics. This, of course, phenomena fascinated people at the time, if it's scientists, if it's the people in the world. And of course, from that, we had, I would say, with every decade, we actually had almost like quantum leap when it comes to AI. Today, of course, AI, I would say for the past 20 years, artificial intelligence becomes something major in our life, even without us being aware of it. Today, many of the concepts are embedded within many systems, all the way computer programs, web applications, and somewhat into mobile application as well. A few examples. IBM has a system called Watson. I don't know if you heard about it, but Watson is supposed to be a web interface to a completely artificial intelligence engine that assists, with decision making, with information, data, knowledge, etc. I was involved within my personal career. I was involved a few times in life within other companies, developing methods for AI, if it's IBM, a bit at Intel, and recently, of course, for the past few years, in heavily with the Gopher Protocol.
And can you explain to people that have been following your company from the beginning, you first described your company as a heuristic-based technology company, but can you identify that actually was artificial intelligence, and when you're redefining it that way now, that it's always been that way?
Yes. Well, again, when you talk about artificial intelligence, we tend to categorize it to main two categories. One of them is what we call the rule-driven AI. Rule-driven AI is, I basically call it the simplest way. It's a very, in a way, simple by if then, okay? If it is nighttime, then turn the light on. So based on rules like that, we created a system, of artificial intelligence engines, which are functioning very well in wide varieties of our daily life. And then we have something that we deal with, we are involved, is what we call a knowledge base. This one is actually go into a different category, something which is more heuristic. That means it has a behavioral. The system that we built is actually studying, has a learning capability, and actually has the capability of making decisions based on knowledge or based on statistics, based on even research that the system does, of course, given, some information. This system, of course, is involved with heavily with what we call machine learning, pattern recognition, voice recognition, data mining, which is, again, analyzing databases, storing database, and analyze them and make conclusion based on that. And that's why we defined Gopher from the beginning as a heuristic-based technology company. Heuristic is basically comes from behavior. We try to mimic, in a way, a human behavior by learning, studying, researching, and making conclusions.
And can you talk specifically about how your AI technology works for both the patch and the pet tracker technology, and maybe some examples of how it tracks behavioral patterns?
Right. Well, again, we actually involved artificial intelligence heavily within our systems in a few domains. One of the domains is actually even something that maybe sounds trivial, but actually it's not, is the power management. Our patch or the actual tracking devices is a power management artificial intelligence controlled or supervised, I would say. And we do it in a wide variety of ways. Again, in order to preserve, in case of the Guardian patch, which is supposed to live on a battery for long term, many months, up to a year, we do need some system to supervise and control the power consumption. Otherwise, the battery is going to be done in a few weeks. So the artificial intelligence, which we actually call it an expert system. An expert system is another form of calling an artificial intelligence mechanism. An expert system engine is supervising constantly when it comes to temperature, when it comes to when to wake up the device, when to go to sleep, when to actually provide a mesh coverage or relay coverage. So in a certain area, some so-and-so units are awake at all times or awake at a certain interval in order to listen and transfer the signal, and some, and the rest of the time they go to sleep. So in this mathematically modeled artificial intelligence expert system, we actually supervise the power management of our tracking technology. Another example is actually very similar, and you've seen it in other domains, like when you buy something on Amazon. Let's say you bought a computer, in the next day you're going to get an email, hey, how about buy a monitor? So the system in Amazon has also some kind of AI mechanism to learn your pattern and then make conclusion. We did the same with our technology, with our tracking technology. And I'll just give you an example. If you have a pet and you have the pet typically goes in a park, the system learns the daily activity of your walks, of your tracking history. And in case all of a sudden the pet or the signal is coming from a perimeter that is out of the typical behavior or the range of typical the system learned, it will alert the user, hey, your pet now is not at the typical location it used to be. It's 2 miles to the east near such and such. We never saw the pet there. Is that okay, or did the pet get lost? This is just an example with the pet. It can be, of course, for any tracking. It can be for loved ones. It can be for objects, etc.
And going back to the pet tracker, it's getting close to being a commercial product right now, and there are some other products that are in the market that are further ahead. But looking at the artificial intelligence component of your technology, does that make it unique and different from any of the other pet tracking technologies that are in the market, and will that be part of your marketing and branding moving forward?
Yes, well, given the fact that our system, again, I believe this is the first time we are mentioning here that our system are artificial intelligence based. Our expert systems that are embedded within our tracking technology is doing something that actually no current other technology does. It has the capability to learn from situation. Okay, and again, I give an example. I own a dog, and I go with my dog, on a daily basis, weekly basis, on certain paths, certain walks. The system studied, the system learned, the pattern of how my pet is actually spending time outside. The system analyzes it, and the system makes prediction even, where are possible location that it may go in the future. All this is done in order to maintain what we call a safety alert or emergency alert in case the pet gets lost. Or ultimately, it's to maintain a good life, so no pets are lost. And I believe that only in this way, the system is capable to provide what we call look-ahead alerts or in real-time alerts. Again, something out of the ordinary has just happened, very similar to your credit card. Okay, all of a sudden you saw a weird charge on your card, you get a notice from the bank. You're going to get a notice from our system. Your dog is in such and such location. Is it supposed to be there? If everything is okay, you just say, acknowledge, yes, it's okay. If not, you are immediately alerted and you know what to do.
So would it also track time? For example, people normally walk their dogs in the morning and around dinner. So if all of a sudden you saw the dog, moving and tracking at 2 a.m, which is an unusual pattern, would it track time as well as location as an alert and a problem?
Absolutely. That's the beauty of the system. It tracks all data, not only time, date, locations, trips. It actually will tell you in the history. You can actually look online or on your app where was the actual path that your pet was. Furthermore, in case the pet get lost, immediately it gives you the information. It also gives you predicted, even if in the worst case, as assuming the pet has the tracking device and something happened, the tracking device broke, the battery just gone dead at that moment, the system will predict based on the behavior and the studies. Okay, I cannot see the signal now, but here are the locations, here are what the system recommends to go see, because these locations are most likely where your pet is at this moment. Again, based on the tracking, based on speed, the pet is moving and previous history.
So looking at your company overall as a technology company and the fact that you've developed this artificial intelligence within it, for the current products that you have and the current products under development, is there also potential for you to license out this technology for applications that you're not really looking at developing internally?
That is correct. We actually do our artificial intelligence. Actually, we have a few core engines that we already do use in wide variety of locations or places within our technology interface. For example, one of them is, again, the mobile app that the user downloads is just an interface. It's very nice and neat and colorful and push buttons, but the mobile app is actually pushing buttons or activating the the wisdom behind, which is actually sitting on our server, which is a very robust millions lines of code of artificial intelligence program. So it's just an interface. Same with our web application. You can go online to maps.guardianpatch.com, open an account, see a map, see tracking. It's all beautiful. But behind that web application is, again, a core engine that runs on our server of expert system of artificial intelligence. And furthermore, even our program named Epsilon, which is basically a software that is targeted to enhance microchips performance, speed, current and electrical analysis. Even Epsilon includes a core of artificial intelligence core engine in order to predict, even within a chip, how the electrical behavior of the chip is going to look like in order to alert or predict and eliminate violations in the future. So, yes, we already have our AI systems intact in a few locations. And in case of Epsilon, for example, we are licensing the software to any third party that is interested to buy and currently evaluating the software. So we are going to license it the moment this product is going to be purchased, yes.
Thank you very much for the update today, Danny, and I look forward to one in the future. Are you still on track for getting the pet tracker to market for this year?
Yes, we believe we do. Again, we had some requests for marketing to reduce sizes, change shapes. Again, the successful prototype of the tracker actually exists for many months. We released a demo for it. Now it's just a matter of fulfilling requests for marketing to make things maybe smaller. We don't know, manufacturing-wise, the sphere is to keep the orb shape or not to keep some suggested bone shape. That's where we are now. But I definitely believe, we'll finalize this, I would call it business decision from technology's point of view, system works 6 months ago. Now we're just finalizing, in what shape, what look and feel of the product going to be, and I believe we're going to launch probably, I know that in a few weeks, even a few campaigns in this direction.
That sounds exciting. Okay, thank you very much, Danny, and we'll talk to you soon and get the next update from you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
InvestorIdeas.com reminds all listeners to read disclaimers and disclosures on InvestorIdeas.com website. All investment involves risk, and this podcast is not meant to be an endorsement to buy or sell securities or products. To hear more podcasts, go to www.investorideas.com/audio. And a reminder, you can also hear our podcasts on iTunes, Google Play Music, TuneIn, and Stitcher. To learn more about Gopher's products, learn about the patch at www.guardianpatch.com and the pet tracker at www.guardianpettracker.com. For disclosure purposes, Gopher is a paid PR news and social media company on InvestorIdeas.com.